Proceed. Hello, everyone. My name is William Jamar Wright, and this is HattieJo, our third episode. Woo!
And what are we doing?
What are we doing? Just in case you didn't know, that was Young Thug, man can rap. Best friends, and this episode.
That's my best friend. That's my best friend.
Go best friend.
I
Go
can rap
best
too,
friend.
so
A little bit. She can rap a little bit. My skills are obviously way better than hers, but that's a story for another day. But this episode of HattieJo, we're going to talk about our best friends because they are obviously very important people in our lives, and
they're just really cool.
Yeah, I mean, we know some cool people. We do know some cool people. But started off, I thought we would go back and just kind of talk about like elementary school. And I think looking back, my very, very first best friend, was Josh Harris at Reedville Elementary. We were in kindergarten class together, 5th grade, 5K. And Josh was just my best friend. Like, we would do everything from snap time together to go out and play at a recess together. And I had no idea what a best friend was.
Snoozing for a bruising.
No idea what like a best friend meant at the time, but definitely in elementary school, going all the way through like getting into middle school, Josh was definitely my best friend. What about you, Hattie? Who was your best friend?
I would definitely, so this is an easy one to answer. I had a best friend in elementary school. Her name was Jordan Ard, and she was awesome. And we were best friends since first grade. We were both in the same gifted and talented class.
Oh, gifted and talented.
Yeah, and then when we had to switch classes to a new elementary school, she also came, so that was really great. And we were best friends from 1st through 6th grade. And she also did gymnastics at my gymnastics center. So we would carpool after school. Her mom would pick us up and give us a snack, and then we would go to gymnastics, and my parents would pick us both up. So it's a lot of good best friend time.
Cool.
We used to love to watch Mary-Kate and Ashley movies.
So you guys would have sleepovers?
Yeah, and we would do each other's hair and then undo it and then redo all we would braid each other's hair over and over.
Cool.
Yeah.
So really Josh was the very first sleepover that I ever went to. And to be honest with you, like, he invited me over to his house for a sleepover with his mom. And I did not have his address. But so what I did was I just told her, all right, we're just going to drive around like this area. Did you know what his
house looked like?
I had no idea where he lived, what his house looked like at all. So we're just driving around, and I'm like, Mom, I think he lives somewhere close by here. I had no idea.
You're in first grade at this time?
No, I was probably around like 2nd grade.
So a young kid, 7 or 8 years old.
So we're driving around, no idea like where the party is. We exhaust where I thought his house was. Mm-hmm. So we're going back. I'm just like, you know what? Like, it's just not going to happen. Like, I'm not going to be able to go to Josh's sleepover. I was really hurt, really sad. And then we drive by this house, and we see a bunch of lights, and we see some balloons out. And I'm like, that's right up the road from where I stay. Like, there's no way there's, like, a party going on here, and it's not Josh's birthday party. But I'm like, Mom, we got to stop there and at least see if it's Josh's house. So we stopped by. And what do you know? It's Josh's house. His mom, Susan, came out and met us. Like, she was so nice. And I randomly found, like, my best friend's house, and we had a great sleepover time.
Homing pigeon.
Yeah.
So William has the best mental map skills ever.
Yeah.
And always knows right where everything is. So this is how that developed, I feel like. From that moment on, you're like, I'm going to make note of where things are so that I can get there. When I want to get there.
So then I got to middle school, and my best friends at the time was really Jeffrey Dawkins, who lives in Charlotte, who has a beautiful wife. He's building a nice little family there in Charlotte. Mm-hmm. But Jeffrey and Reggie, they were my best friends pretty much from, I would say, 7th, 8th grade all the way through high school. the rest of high schools. And those guys were really like my road dogs. Me and Jeff, we used to we both were on the basketball team, and we would get up for early morning workouts and be like, man, we're going to go to the state championship. His dad, Mr. Dawkins, Jimmy Dawkins, he would take us down to the state championship for basketball, and we would go down to Columbia and we would watch the state championship basketball games.
Fun.
And Jeff would be like, me and Jeff would always be like, man, we're going to get here one day. We're going to get here one day. And so Jeff was my homie.
That was where your dream of playing for Coach K started
yeah.
too.
But it was definitely, Jeff and I definitely bonded a lot over basketball. I would go over to his house and spend the night over there. His family was very nice to me, and it was definitely like a really like a cool little bond. And they definitely were a great family. And Jeff was my homie. Reggie as well. Reggie kind of taught me a lot about what I needed to know at the time about like girls and like pursuing girls. And just the way it was very impressionable on me on the subject matter that is girls, and I appreciated his help.
Important
because
topic.
I was definitely
Important topic.
I was definitely not I was not a ladies' man. Yeah, definitely girls did not like me. It's all right. Yeah. It's all right.
Girls did not like me.
But it's all right. It's cool. I got you a good one now.
I like you.
No. But so those guys really. Also, a little shout out to a family member of mine, Tyke Shatashmi Arakidrio Morgan. She was a huge friend of mine in high school. And she was somebody, her and her family as well. They were really close to me. And people that, looking back, I don't know how I would have made it through without them. Not only their friendship, we would always bounce ideas and talk through stuff. And it was really important. Tyke, Reggie, and Jeff, like we were definitely like really good friends. And their friendship meant a lot to me growing up, coming through middle school and high school.
It's wonderful.
What about you?
Well, so I mentioned how Jordan also switched elementary schools with me in 3rd grade, so our best friendship could thrive. But unfortunately, in middle school, we did not go to the same middle school. So we were still good friends, and at this time, she had stopped doing gymnastics, so I didn't get to see her nearly as much. But we were still good friends, but I kind of learned through middle school to invest more time with a bunch of friends, whereas in elementary school, it was really just Jordan and I. It's like the Jordan Hattie show all the time, which is fine, but I was learning to be friends with boys and girls, and instead of just one best friend, have a lot of friends. And I think that came in really handy when I was in high school as well. I really feel like our core group of the students in IB became really close friends, but I was also on track, and so I had a lot of friends from track, and likewise from the gymnastics team. And so that kind of leads me to my best friend.
Oh.
Jennifer.
Jen.
Yes, Mama J.
Her
newest nickname. So at the time she was Jen Salfin. Now she's Jen Tracy. Dr. Jen Tracy. Thank you very much. We were actually just in Vegas celebrating her 30th birthday and her PhD defense passing. So she's awesome.
I know. We had a lot of fun hanging out with her and Jimmy.
Her husband, yeah. So anyhow, I met Jen. So I went, it was actually, my dad really knows how to pick my best friends. Or at least get me in the situation where I meet the best friends. So, what happened was I had been doing competitive gymnastics for a very long time. Since elementary school, that's how I knew Jordan and everything. And by the time I got to high school, there was really only so many hours in a day. I was having some problems with gymnastics and just decided to stop doing competitive gymnastics, or at least the competitions for a while. And I was really kind of bummed about it, all this stuff. And so my dad, one day after school, came to pick me up, which never happened. I was always being driven by Rob or riding the bus. So, like, Dad comes, you know, it's serious. Yeah. And he's like, well, actually, he had instructed me to bring, like, workout clothes. So I brought workout clothes. And after school, he's like, we're going to the gymnastics team. I was like, what do you mean the gymnastics team? And he was like, Lakewood High School has a gymnastics program. And I've already talked with the coach and you're on the team. And I was like,
Father knows best.
I'm on the team. Like, what do you mean? And it turns out our high school had a gymnastics program. There's actually a lot of schools in Jefferson County. That was our county that has high school gymnastics programs. And our team was really a good group of a lot of different skill levels. And so based on my gymnastics background, the coach didn't even need to see me try out or anything before she was like, oh, we definitely want you on the team. And so that first day was when I met Jen. And Jen is one of those people that just wants, the best. She sees the best in you, and she'll stop at nothing to get it out. Yeah. And so she's an only child, too. So I think she may have been intimidating to other people or came across as bossy in some way. But I could tell she really just wanted me to be the best gymnast I could be. And so her parents are also gymnastics coaches. So she spent a lot of time being a teammate, but also giving corrections and kind of coaching other people. So I think some of the girls may not have loved that, but I was like, I just want to do my best, and she's not wrong. I do need to make that correction. And I think Jen liked me because I just listened and made the corrections. I didn't give any attitude. I didn't get upset. I just worked hard. And so we quickly became friends. And there are so many stories and shenanigans from that time. We're still best friends, but we
guys got into trouble.
No, we can talk more about that a little later when you start to talk a little bit more about your best friends.
Trouble, huh?
Not necessarily the trouble, but some of the fun memories.
I got you.
But yeah, so she has been my best friend since before college, obviously high school. Her parents, I spent a lot of time with them. So like I mentioned, they are gymnastics coaches, Mary Beth and Steve. And I actually started, I think after my freshman year in high school, I started doing competitive gymnastics again, but not doing all the competitions. Mm-hmm. And so then I went to the gymnastics gym, the club gym that Jen went to. And Steve coached there, and Mary Beth would come and coach. And so then my sophomore year, Jen and I would go to high school practice, and then we would go to club practice. And then on the weekends, I would spend the weekend, most of it, with Jen's family, and on Sundays we'd go do private lessons. So it was just gymnastics all the time, and with Mary Beth and Steve. So they kind of gave me the nickname that I was their second daughter, and I really felt like it. Mary Beth was great. She'd be like, "Oh, do you guys need to go shopping? Here's some money, Jen. Here's some money, Hattie." And I'm like, "I'll pay you back. I'll have my parents." She's like, "No, it's fine. You're our daughter."
Yeah,
I'm like,
don't worry about it.
Yeah,
they made you feel loved.
Yeah, and we went many times to Hawaii, and they would always treat me, and I would pay for the flight, but basically everything else, Mary Beth and Steve were so generous and so giving, and always made me feel just as much part of the family. And they were never like, "Oh, well, let's get Jen this, but not Hattie," So that was really great, because also, my dad, sometimes it would be a struggle, just to get everything paid back. And so it was really nice that they were so generous and giving and really accepted me. So I definitely feel like they're my second family.
Well, definitely, for me getting into college, there was definitely a transition for me, because you come to college and it's you're thrown in with a bunch of football players, and it's just you guys figure it out. So I got here to Duke, and it was almost day one that Rob Sherman from Cincinnati, Ohio, now lives in northern Kentucky, right across the Ohio border. But Rob Sherman, he really became my best friend getting here at Duke. And it was
He was your roommate, right?
No, he was not my roommate my freshman year. So my freshman year, I stayed with Chancellor Young.
We talked about this.
Yeah, but Rob lived right down the hall on the second floor. So anybody that knows me knows that in college, I struggled to keep a cell phone. But Rob was very good at having a cell phone. And I, on the other hand, had a car.
And Rob did not have a car.
And Rob did not have a car, but he loved to drive. He absolutely loved to drive. So Rob and I, we just became kind of friends over this fact. And that, like, if anybody ever needed to get in contact with me, they would reach out to Rob. If Rob needed to go anywhere, he would ask to use my car. And I was always willing to let him use my car, especially considering how many people would call and ask for me or Rob.
But girls didn't like him. Remember that.
No, I'm just saying people call. Hey, by the time I got to college, I was
much better.
Yeah, I was much better at talking to girls.
So yeah, friends helping friends.
Yes.
Love it.
So one time, a short story, like, we're out at football practice, and, like, we normally drive over to practice together. All freshmen live on East.
Oh, right,
so
East,
we travel over together. And
like,
we were afternoon.
Drive, but East. Okay.
So we were afternoon practice team, and we have, like, a little players parking lot parked. Went out to practice. Everything is good. Like, had a decent practice. Came in, and I'm like, where are my keys? Like, I don't know where my keys are. So I'm looking, like, everywhere, and I'm like, man, I do not know where my keys are. So I look all over the locker room. I look in the team room. I'm in the training room. I'm like, where are my keys? Like, no one knows. So I see Matt Rumsey, who was Rob Sherman's roommate. And Matt's like, I'm like, Matt, have you seen Rob? Like, I'm missing my keys. I don't know where they are. Like, I know I put them in my locker, which I happen from time to time to lose things and lose my keys. And it's just the way things happen. Yeah. It shows up when it's ready to. So I'm like, Matt's like, well, maybe Rob took your car because, like, he was sick at practice and he left. So I'm like, oh, God, please let Rob have taken my car. So I go up to the parking lot. My car is not there. My car is not there. And I'm like, it had to be Rob. Like, there's no other place. Like, I know I parked it. Because I didn't have a cell phone.
I know you didn't, but you could have borrowed somebody else's.
I could have, but it wasn't worth it. So I was like, he has to have my car. So I go back to the dorm, Blackwell. I, like, run to Rob's room. I'm like, Rob, like, where are my keys? Like, do you have my car? And he's like, yeah, here are your keys. Like, and he was dog sick. Like, he was so sick. And I'm like, okay, thank God. Like, I wasn't nervous. I was just happy that he had it. But it kind of shows, like, our friendship a little bit, and that he felt comfortable enough to take my car while I was at a practice and not leave me a note or anything. Just
and not leave you a ride back. Just leave.
Well, there were enough freshmen that had cars that were.
Well, and
I was gonna get back.
Every other freshman, not everyone has a car, and so there's plenty of methods to get from east to west and everything. So, like, you could have used the buses and it would have been fine.
You only take the bus when you got to go to class. You don't take the bus when you got to go back to the. You're a regular dookie. I was a student athlete.
You would have gotten there. You would have gotten back.
Eventually. But it was a convenience thing involved.
Yes.
But also, so after our freshman year, Rob and I were like, we were tight. We would, like, smoke little cigars in my car. It was like the green apple cigar. So the stuff you go to the convenience store and pick up. We thought we were big time. We would smoke cigars in my car. So it was like, it was just bonding moments. We would listen to, like, HattieJo and just all kind of, like, rap music, crazy stuff. Same thing kids are doing today. Mm-hmm. Smoking green apple cigars in there.
Well, Jen and I never smoked anything. But we did do a lot of bonding in the car, listening to music. We had, like, a trillion inside jokes, and we would pass notes in school. And we would always be writing each other little, like, cards or notes and, like, good luck for gymnastics meets and
nice.
Just all sorts of stuff. We have a lot of documentation of our friendship. Anyways, that was just a random comment.
Yeah, so sophomore year, Rob and I decided to room together. We were like, we're best friends. Like, this would be a great idea. It may have been the worst idea we had in college. We were just completely polar opposites. He's a lot cleaner. I'm a little bit more messier. At the time, I was just, like, all over the place. And he kind of had his stuff more together. And like I would come in like all hours of the night and like be loud. And Rob is over there like in his room. He's like, shut up. Like I'm trying to go to sleep.
Wait, so he had a separate room?
No, we were in the same room together.
Oh, okay.
We were roommates.
Oh, so when you had said in his room, you really meant our room.
Yeah,
I was just confused by that. Sorry.
So sophomore year, we lived together. Probably the longest year of Rob's life.
Poor Rob. And he still likes you.
Yeah,
Yay!
yeah. Which shows the strength of our bond, like how strong our friendship was. But junior year, we lived in separate. We never decided. Our friendship was better off that we just stay friends. Yeah. But to this day, like Rob is my homie. He's actually expecting his first baby boy. So it's
we went to their wedding. You were a groomsman.
I was a groomsman in his wedding
year?
in Florida. So he's definitely it was last year.
It was last year.
Last year around this time actually.
Yeah.
But he's doing very well. I'm very proud of him, and that's my dog. But around sophomore year actually, that's when I met one of my other best friends, Benjamin Loebner. Who has his great family, Sue Loebner.
We love Sue.
Yeah, Sue, you're the best.
And Neil.
And Neil, you guys are absolutely wonderful. But Ben and I really, my sophomore and junior year, Ben and I really, we became really close. I had, some injuries, and we were both just, I don't know, it was just a great connection. We would sit around at the apartment that Tyler, who's one of my other best friends I'll get to, they had rented out, and we would play Halo, and so Ben would play a country music song, and then I would play a rap hip hop song, and we would literally just alternate songs.
That's what college is all about. Expanding your horizons, culturing yourself.
Yeah, so we would just alternate song and song for hours on hours playing Halo. And we became of course, the college game to play at Duke as athletes. We played a lot of beer pong as partners. And really my sophomore and junior year, we were kind of the undefeated team on campus. We were always the best, and we always loved competing and demonstrating how good we were at beer pong. But he's was a really caring guy. He's very different. He's from Oregon.
Shout out to the West. Yes.
West Coast. Westland, Oregon.
West Coast.
Sue and Neil are always trying to get us to come out there.
Which we will. One day, we will.
One day.
It's great.
It is. We're going to get it figured out, Neil and Sue. We're going to get it figured out. But Ben is just a really nice, he would give you the shirt off his back. Mm-hmm. And he's just a great guy. Someone I'm very proud to have as one of my best friends, and somebody that I always know that I can call on, and he'll be there for me if I need him.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about my best friends, too. So I kind of mentioned in elementary school I had one best friend, Jordan, spent most of my time with her, and in middle school kind of had more friends, but no one was really a best friend. And in high school, in class, I would spend a lot of time with the group of people I did IB with. Mm-hmm. But my best friend was Jen. And outside of school, school hours, if I was spending time with a friend, 99% of the time it was with Jen. It was the two of us. But then she's 2 years older than me, so when I was a junior in high school, she had already gone to college. So that was kind of a rough adjustment for me, and I would say I kind of went back to the whole being friends with a lot of people, but not really having the one best friend that I would spend time with. And then when I was in college, it's kind of a blend. I had a lot of friends from engineering and from Brownstone, but I also had a best friend, and that's Melissa Brassey. I think I mentioned on the podcast earlier about how we met before cheerleading tryouts. Again, thanks, Dad, for making that all work out, because he was the one that noticed her practicing tumbling on the lawn. He ran back up to my dorm room, to be like, Hattie, someone's doing gymnastics outside. You should go meet her. And she convinced me to go to cheerleading tryouts the next day, and the rest is history. So she and I had a very similar, the Melissa and HattieJo type of best friendship. And we were really close, spent tons of time together. We never roomed together because she was in a sorority and I was in Brownstone. But that was probably... Well, we did room together our senior year when we lived off campus. But while we were on campus, I think that was kind of good because we spent a ton of time together studying and cheerleading. Amelia, it's okay. But then we had a few little other things that would happen that were separate. And then sophomore year, Lauren Hughes joined the cheerleading team. And so, hey Lauren. So she's our other best friend, and our being Melissa and I, and then it became the trio. Melissa, Hattie, and Lauren. And so from then on, the three of us were inseparable. And Lauren is also in a separate sorority. So I think we had a lot of unifying things, but we also had other little engagements that were kind of separate. So that was kind of nice because it prevented, like, overdose, if that makes sense. Because we were together still a ton of time, a lot of times, and we had a lot of fun. And I roomed with Lauren when I was in grad school and when she was in nursing school. So it's been pretty good. Lots of good memories.
And they still live here in the area, right?
Yes, and both of them actually still live here in the area, both in Durham. So we spent a ton of time together, still to this day, which is really great. Melissa has a baby girl now, Caroline. She's doing really well. Yeah, and Lauren is busy saving lives on the regular. She's a neonatal nurse. So those sick little babies have the best person that could be there to care for them. But yeah, just a lot of shenanigans.
Speaking of shenanigans, one of my other best friends, Tyler Robinson, a.k.a. T-Rob.
T-Rob.
So Tyler Robinson is the man. You ask him, he will tell you that he's the man.
Yes.
So Tyler Robinson is literally maybe the most...
But he'll say it in a way that you're like, I believe you. You know?
Or you'll laugh at him. Or like, what are you talking about?
That's how you know how close of a friend you are to Tyler. You're either like, yeah, totally, or you just laugh at him.
Yeah, but Tyler is... he actually now lives in the Northern Virginia area and works at George Mason University. But Tyler is someone that, like, our friendship, like, literally the only reason I really know Tyler is through Ben. Ben and Tyler were both, Ben was redshirting, and Tyler was a transfer. And so they kind of connected once they first got here. And then through, like, my friendship with Ben, like, I got to know Tyler really well. When they moved into Partners, apartment 26B, the single greatest apartment any college students could ever have. But 26B is virtually where I got to know.
We'll go down in infamy.
Yes. Poor,
especially those
poor trio of girls that lives below us. So we
put up with the same playlist every week.
So, quick story about Tyler. So we were living in 26B, and
so
every
you were living
weekend.
there too?
I wasn't living there.
Okay.
I just stayed there on the weekends by sleeping on the couch.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
But Tyler, Patrick, and Garrett Mason, they all lived in apartment 26B. And every Friday night, probably starting around...
So was it 3 bedrooms? Or was
it was 3 bedrooms.
Okay.
So they had 3 bedrooms, and they had like a pull-out couch, and then they had like a little, I would say like sunroom area.
Oh, nice.
That if somebody
so
else
that sounds like plenty of space.
It was enough.
Yeah.
It was college.
It's college,
kids, yeah.
But it was
so there was one Saturday evening. Patrick invited his friend that lived in Chapel Hill. He came out and he knew how to bust a glass bottle over your head and
cool party trick. Great.
And
so
break
like
the bottle.
One of these,
yes. Yes. Okay. So in order to break the bottle over your head, you have to...
It has to be empty.
Yes, it has to be empty, but you also have to...
implying that you drank the beer. You have to be sufficiently drunk before you try this trick.
But you have to, like, break the bottom out.
Okay, so, like, this part of the bottle, you have to break that out?
No, like, you have to, like, basically you just have to... It's...
Complicated?
It's not that complicated. You just have to let the air out of the bottle, which basically makes it easy to break. Sorry, I'm not explaining this very well. But basically, you get the bottle where you can break it over your head. Well, Tyler did not know this.
Know what? That you needed to
let the air out before you break the bottle.
So I'm imagining an empty bottle with the cap off. Yes. Doesn't the air flow out of the open?
No, it's a whole process.
I just let it go. Okay.
Just let it go. So Tyler did not know this process, and everyone else did.
I don't obviously know the process either.
Well, so Patrick's friend goes outside and he's like, "Look, guys, this is what I can do." He takes the bottle, lets the bottom out of it, and he breaks it over his head. And Tyler's like, "Oh man, I can do that. Like, of course I can do that." So Tyler takes the bottle, he like smashes it over his head. It's like, "Shit, that really hurt." Like the bottle didn't break. So we're all sitting there just busting out laughing, like completely messing with his ego, because now he's like, I can't be embarrassed in front of my friends.
Right.
So he like tries it again. It doesn't break. So we were dying laughing. He takes the bottle one more time and tries to break it over his head. Does not work. So he gets
Tyler's got like a big head too.
Yeah.
And he's very strong. So like, it's not because he's giving weenie like hits. You know what I mean?
So he takes the bottle. He's over the balcony and he just slings it downstairs through their neighbor's window, which are all three girls. So we're all like, "Oh man, what have you done?" No.
So the window is completely broken.
Yeah, so there's, like, the window is not completely broken, but a bottom third of the window, like, there's a hole through it.
From a glass bottle that was thrown at high velocity through it.
So the next morning, the young ladies come up to the door, and Ben and I are just passed out on the couch, and they knock on the door, and we go to the door, and they're like, somebody threw a glass bottle through our window, and we need for, like, you guys to, like, come down and fix this. So Ben and I are like, well, we don't live here, so let's go get somebody that does live here. So we go and knock on the door, and Tyler's in there. He's, like, half naked, like, with his underwear on, and we're like, Tyler, the ladies whose window you threw the bottle through, like, they would like to have a word with you. And he's like, tell them to step into my office. So we're like, oh, man. So basically the moral of the story is they went to Home Depot and got some boards to box it up. The apartment complex completely fixed it. And they're like, oh, like, no worries. Like, stuff like this happens all the time. Yeah. So they fixed it, and that story kind of epitomizes, like, who Tyler is.
Well, you forgot the funny part, because they came up, or I obviously wasn't there, but I heard that they came up and they were like, you play the same playlist every Friday, you know, and we don't complain at all, like, you need to come fix this window, like, here's our list of grievances that we don't complain about, but that you guys are totally ridiculous.
Yes, but...
And they still have that playlist.
Yes, we do still have the playlist.
And they love it.
But Tyler, nonetheless, he has definitely grown a lot since those days. Married now with a kid. And another kid on the way. Due date, November 3rd. Birthday twins. Yes.
Well, you don't know if they're going to be birthday twins.
I'm hoping for it.
We can definitely hope, but just don't be too disappointed.
I mean, it's birth. Like, there's no exact size for this.
And there's no stopping it, and there's no speeding it up.
So, the due date, hey, November 3rd, make it happen. But, so Tyler, just a great guy. Always, like, the life of the party. Everyone always has a good time. He's always got some kind of joke that he can, like, just come off top of his tongue with. But he is a great guy.
He's
someone
really good
that
at making you feel like, welcome and like included.
yes. And like I said earlier, like we got to know each other, and him and I would share a lot of things in common, like growing up, like football being very important to us, and like wanting to like have a family and like just like that development. And I think that's really a big part of our friendship. Also, it doesn't hurt that we're really the only two black people in our like little friend group that we have here. So we definitely bond over that. And some of the things people say are just like, they really just say that. But, and we can look at each other and like laugh about that because we definitely, we have a lot of things in common and a lot of kind of the mindset about life. And it's really like we share that bond, and it's really, it's great to have. And kind of going from Tyler to my best friend, Patrick, who's also part of our friend group, who lives down in Florida, the Tampa Bay area. So Patrick and I, when we first, it's weird, like, so around the time of my junior year, that's when I really met Patrick. He was very good friends with Tyler. Like I said, they lived room together during Tyler's redshirt senior year, and then
at 26B. They
at 26B, yeah. So
that's
Patrick
2
and I,
years that they roomed together?
no, just 1 year.
Oh, okay, so that was Tyler's redshirt. Okay.
Yeah. So Patrick and I, when we first met, Patrick and I, like, we weren't that cool. I thought it was kind of a douche. Just one of those
Does he
stereotypical.
know that you thought that?
I think so. Yeah, he definitely does that. He's one of those stereotypical, like, I thought stereotypical, like, frat guys that, like.
I can see how you had that impression. Like, I didn't know Patrick in college, but I can see how you may have gotten that impression.
Yeah, so we just, like, we were, like, he wasn't my enemy or anything. We just, like, we didn't get along as well. But then there was, like, my spring break of my junior year, I had a DUI. Sad face, bad decision maker. But Patrick also had a DUI. And he,
sad
face,
yes. Bad decision maker.
So, like, so we both kind of, like, we're sitting here spring break, and we both had, like, DUI. So, like, neither one of us could drive anywhere. So we're like, okay, like, we're just going to have a great time together. So we decide, like, in the middle of spring break, he had his trial. And then in the middle of the spring break, we're like, let's just go, like, on a road trip somewhere.
So was he allowed to drive at this point?
No, he was not allowed to drive. So we were with Tyler and Garrett. So it's the four of us. And
but you made Garrett and Tyler drive the whole way.
Yeah, which Garrett ended up driving the whole way because Tyler was like, I'm not going to drive. So the four of us are on a road trip. We go down to Charleston one night, and we go to Myrtle Beach one night. We hang out with like people from like MTV. It was just the craziest thing ever.
Is that where you met Ryan Lochte?
No, that is not where we met Ryan Lochte. Patrick and I met Ryan Lochte in Orlando for Cinco de Mayo.
Anyway, I digress. Continue.
So we go down to Charleston, and we're college kids. Like, none of us have like a lot of money, so we're like trying to like keep this thing as tight budget as possible. So we get a 2-bedroom hotel, and there's one bed or 2 beds. So there's a right bed and a left bed.
Oh, I thought it was just you got one hotel room.
Yeah, we got one hotel room.
Yeah, you said you got 2 hotel rooms.
So we got one hotel room, 2 beds.
2 beds.
So
4 people.
There's a right bed and there's a left bed. Well, Patrick and I were like, we got dibs on the right bed. And for the rest of that year, we were team right bed. TRB.
And they still are.
And that was the beginning of our illustrious friendship.
Good word.
And it's definitely continued and stayed strong to this day. So we come back, and literally we're like inseparable. So we like, I kind of ditched Ben as my beer pong partner from then on. I adopted Patrick. We've been running the table ever since. Anytime we're in like a place together and there's beer pong going on, I'm like, hey, like I know who my partner is. Who's yours?
And the only time it's like a decent game is when you play each other.
Yeah. And we have pity on everyone else.
Yeah.
But so after that, Patrick went away to law school in Florida. He went to Stetson, and I went to South Carolina and started working at Presbyterian College. So the first year, Patrick like invited us all down to Florida, and
when you say us all, is that like
just all of our friends like Tyler, Garrett, Rob, Ben. He was just like, hey, you guys should really come down and visit. And it was the summertime for me at college, or at Presbyterian College. So summertime for coaches is really relaxed, or it was at the time. So I went down to Florida, drove. It was like 10 hours. It was the worst drive ever. But
drive down probably wasn't as bad as the drive back.
No, the drive down was completely way worse than the drive back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
anyway,
that's because I took a complete day of like
extra day.
Yeah,
the dead zone.
Yeah, because it's the absolute worst hangover I've ever had on that trip. So I went down. I stayed for Friday night, Saturday night. I could not move at all Sunday. Like there was a bed on the floor, and I just stayed there on the floor and did not move the entire day. I didn't eat anything. I didn't talk to anybody. I just sat there on the floor and like just let my body rest.
Hurt.
Yes.
It just hurt.
So that was the one and only time I've ever driven down to Florida. But ever since then, I've been going down to Florida at least 3 or 4 times a year. I probably see Patrick. I probably see Patrick as much as I see my mom on a yearly basis, because we just have such a great friendship, and we have a lot of things in common. Even though like I said, when we first met, like you would never think that we have the things that we do have in common. But after like getting to know him over the years, and seeing what makes him tick and how hard he works, he may be the single most hardest working person I know in this world. Mm-hmm. But he takes a lot of pride in his work ethic and the job that he does. And I'm very proud of the lawyer that he's become. But he's definitely my homie. He's like a brother. We've had a lot of shenanigans. He's become like, it's amazing with guys. Like once you like, it's around that like 28, 29 like time frame in life, they just start to make a boatload better decisions. Like your decision making just gets so much better.
Tell that to the insurance company. They're like, we've known this for years.
But we've had some great times. I've missed a couple of flights. Like we've had like the great idea of like me flying down and then like flying out the next morning at like 7 a.m. Nah, that's a horrible idea. Never go to Florida, hang out with your best friend, and then fly out the next morning at 7 a.m. because you're going to miss the flight. But it's really nice. Like I go down, we try to spend every New Year's together. Hattie was with us this past New Year's. We celebrated her birthday, and then had like a nice little rooftop
New Year's Eve. It was really nice. It was so much fun. We had a great time.
I went down. We did the college football national championship game this year.
And we're headed back to hang out with him in Miami.
Yes, we're headed back down. So we both get to see kind of our like best friends here.
I know. That's why this is a best friend episode. We're just coming off a trip to Vegas to celebrate Jen. And we're going to go see Patrick in just a little bit. But that was something that I wanted to comment on. Jen and I are really like sisters. And even though so we're from Colorado and she went to college in Iowa. I would go visit her a couple times. And when she was home for break, we would hang out. But then she lived in Chicago and worked. She got her master's at Loyola and worked in the inner city schools as a teacher, science teacher. And so I'd go visit her there, but again, that's still a distance. And then she pursued her PhD in Edinburgh, Scotland. So I went a couple times to visit her there, and when she got married. But so I'm really proud our friendship has survived through all the distance, and that's definitely something you and Patrick share too. Mm-hmm. The couple times I've hung out with you two, it always cracks me up because you guys really remind me of Jen and I. Mm-hmm. Like Jen and I, in high school, every day was an adventure. And every day was like 1,000 different hilarious things that are now like our inside jokes or like our memories.
Yes.
And I can definitely pick that up between you and Patrick. I can tell that you guys have had a very similar history. And, you know, Jen has had dreams about like saving me from burning buildings and stuff. You know, so like, I know. So,
Jen, like, a superhero in her own dreams.
Yes. So, like, that's just the type of relationship we have, but I can tell that you and Patrick have the same thing. Like, hands down, no questions asked, like, Patrick would come to your rescue if you needed it, and vice versa. And same is true for Jen and me.
Yeah, and I really
and it's just where you just get that person.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And you're just yourself and at ease, and no matter how much time has passed, you hang out again, and it's like no time has passed since the last time you saw him. And
yeah, and I would just like to say, like, I feel that way about, like, this episode is called, like, Best Friends, but those guys, Patrick, Ben, Rob, Tyler, like, they're like my brothers. And looking forward to Last Man Standing coming up in the first weekend of June.
Nashville. Watch out.
We're going to Nashville. Each year we do, like, a little boys trip just so we can stay in touch with each other, because at some point, like, we're going to stop getting married, so we have no reason to see each other every year. So it's good that we get together every year. We've done Chicago, we've done Colorado, and this is the third year we're going to Nashville.
So who picked Nashville?
So whoever
was the last man standing.
Yeah, whoever was the last man standing at the last trip, they get to choose. And sometimes we'll take like a little vote and be like, oh, that sounds like a great place to go. So it's really like, it's just a reason for us to get together and hang out and let each other know that we are special people to each other in each other's lives. And yeah. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, and it's kind of great, too, because at tailgate for football season, you know, a sufficient number of times the whole group, or at least certain parts of the group, are able to get together. Yeah. So I felt like even this past fall, there's been several times that you guys got to hang out.
Sure, yes. And I definitely, like, get to see those guys, like, 2 or 3, 4 times a year, and got our 10th year anniversary or 10-year reunion coming up next year, so I'm expecting. I know Rob will be here, or at least I'm expecting him to be here, and so it's good. It's good, and I think that's about a wrap for this episode.
Yeah. So best friends, getting to visit them, getting to love them, and have so much fun with them, and that's what we've been doing.
Yeah. So you guys take it easy. Bye.